nsọ gị Chukwu ka anyị na-abata, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Anya bịawa ịsọpụrụ gị ugbu a, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Chukwu nna n'ụlọ gị ka anyị na-akpọ gị, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Otito na-adịrị gị mgbe niile, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Ụmụ eluigwe anyị kọta n'otu, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Ka anyị jikọọ ofe ya ofufe Gọdian, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Gọdianism bụ ịhụnanya n'udo, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Butere anyị ụzọ kpetara anyị azụ, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Ise ya
Ndewo, good morning. Ekele dịrị Chineke. What a wonderful opportunity to be walking amongst the living. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Oke Dibia Dr. Uwa Onyioha, and I'm your host on Theism Live today. It's going to be a live one. I hope you're ready. If you got your coffee, tea, whatever it is that you're going to use today, I ask you to bring it, put it on the table and get ready, because we have a wonderful presentation today by Dibia Ochuaja, Udee Onyioha. It is going to be a live one, and that's what it's about. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. Living and talking and chatting and being a part of whatever the changes are that we must make in our lives. I'm wearing green today in honor of Mother Earth, because we're going to pour libations today, and we are going to mention the significance of Mother Earth. I just want to start by saying I am so proud of myself. I've lost 20 pounds, and that's because I am on a journey for better health. So for all of you who are on this, they're possibly on the same path, I hope that you stick to it, because it takes sticking to it to make it happen. Before we get started today, let me, as always, introduce my guests for today's program and who bet. Dibia Ochuaja, Udee, looking really always. The day
How you doing?
I see
Carol. Okay, Dibia. Ole.
the number.
No. Just excited about the program today. And it's not going to be a long lecture, but we're just going to get down to the nitty-gritty and just deal with the elephant in the room.
We are going to talk
what we're going to talk about today.
All that needs to be talked about today.
Yeah.
And I just want to start by saying that there is, for those of us who don't understand, we cannot ever start anything without pouring libations.
Yes.
So let me introduce those who will help me today with libations. Dr. Symona Monet, how are you? How
you doing, Doctor?
The hair.
Looking quite lovely today.
I said, I'm going to have to keep up with you guys. You're looking too fly. And then I also want to add Akachi Azubike. Akachi Ndewo.
How you doing?
I am green.
Yeah.
And then one is a white. So isn't that interesting how we're positioned today? Welcome. Yeah. It's going to be exciting. Akachi is going to drum today, guys.
Ooh, nice.
Yes, he is.
Let's go.
He's going to drum while I pour libations. And when you drum, you kind of awaken the spirit, you awaken the ancestors and let them know that we're here. We have seen another day. And we are ready to be blessed, to ask for the blessings. Let me take a moment and put my bowl here that I'm going to use to pour my libations. I tried to get a little plant, but I couldn't find a little plant soon enough. All the plants I have are huge and they're all outside. So I'm going to pour it in a bowl. And, that is, some people pour libations in a bowl, and I'm going to use water. And some people pour it on the ground, and some people pour it in a plant, in a planter with a plant in it. Either way it works. The idea is to stir up the spirits, to stir up the ancestors. And at this time, as I begin to pour libations, I will ask my sister Akachi to just quietly drum. Let's just talk to the ancestors this morning. Let's just talk to the ancestors this morning. Wherever you are, I ask you to please open your hands so that the blessings will flow. When you close your fists, you block the good from reaching your essence. So be prepared. Be reminded that you are not alone wherever you are right now, wherever you are. Just inhale and exhale, and you can feel the energy. You can feel the spirit of your ancestors. You see, they never leave you. You have to succumb to their presence. You have to succumb to the presence of Chineke. Wherever you are right now, just get quiet. Let's have communion with the ancestors. I'm going to pour libations to divine mind, the absolute, Chineke, the Alpha, the beginning, the ending, the creator of life, the unlimited, ever-present, known as the powerful spirit of Chineke. Chineke, who has all the bountiful names in different cultures. We honor you today. We honor you in whatever tone, whatever language, whatever name you are called by different people, by different cultures. Okaka Nibo, Odozi Obodo, woke ka ibe ya, ana kpọkụta. Nwaanyị obiọma, chi, nwaanyị obiọma. Ji ọmụmụ onye na-egboro anyị mkpa ka anyị ekele gị aka ji akụ aka eji eje ije ọkụnụ ekele m gị taa amadi ọha oke osisi na-enye ndụ dike na-agwọ ndị ọrịa nwaanyị na-ahụ ihe niile. Invoke the blessings that you have for us today, that you have for all that is living, all your living creations, us included. We ask for your blessing for all of us today. The animals who roam the wilds of the Serengeti say, the birds in the sky, the fish in the water, the great Mother Earth, of whom I'm honoring today with my green, because Mother Earth gives us so much that we should be grateful for. But we don't always understand how important. Without Mother Earth, we will not be here. Everything springs forth from the mother. So I honor the mother today. We ask Chineke, thank you, thank you, thank you. Remind us of the bountiful of nature at our disposal if we can take care of them. We call upon all the forces of nature. Anyanwu, Amadioha, Kamalo, Imomiri, Okuroche, Allah. We honor all of our ancestors, the original us, the foundation of our significance, the source of our evolution. You are remembered, you are honored. We ask to be placed to a higher order today. May we develop the capacity to adhere to spiritual law. I say the unfolding of natural events according to the divinely ordained spiritual plan that you have for us. May it become visible to us. He said, lift up our consciousness. Show us to express our good, enjoy love and joy and bring happiness to others. Show us why we're here today. We pour libation asking for acceptance of ourselves as African people, as human beings, that we are humans first. We are all human beings. We should honor and respect and love each other. Give us the faith, the spiritual assurance to develop the inner known, the inner spirit that we draw from, the power of our heart, the power of our desires. May we be able to rely on your goodness to deliver us from harm, from fear. That we have no fear, seen and unseen. Close our eyes to false expectations that appear real. Assist us to be free of dread, of harm, of painful emotion, enhanced by the belief and fear separation, of separation, the fear of separation from all those things that we hold dear. Chineke, remind us everything is free to us. Free us from our egos today. Free our mothers, our fathers, our brothers and sisters, all those people who are dear to us. Free them from ego today. Let us be reminded that I am Bumane, I am Buolu. Those of us who enjoy lying and doing disrespectful things to their own brothers and sisters, Chineke, stop them today. Give them the wherewithal to understand that they need to ask for your forgiveness, for holding on to low expectations. May we learn how to disregard, to discard the bad for the good, for change to take place in our minds and our hearts. We appeal for healing of our unconsciousness. May we find freedom to renew our ability to know and live the truth, our truth, as our ancestors gave it to us. Teach us to choose wisely what we believe. May we from now on be without the thought of confinement, restraint, limitation, or oppression. We pour libation today, asking for a sense of well-being within which manifests into our outer world. Show us ourselves. Show us who we are through you. Let us look in the mirror and see ourselves in you. Welcome us into your bosom, the bosom of love. We will be free of jealousy, which is represented by the fear of belief and manifestation of lack. And as long as we see lack in ourselves, we tend to devalue ourselves. We tend to not see our self-worth, our self-love. We tend to believe that we are not good enough, or that we don't deserve anything. Today, Chineke reminds us this is our new day. Today is our new reality. We call upon all our ancestors, those who have achieved ancestorhood. We ask them to continue to be our spiritual guardians, to stand in front of us, beside us, above us, as spiritual beings who have the capacity. They are there, they are surrounding us to move through space and time on our behalf. May we not stumble today under any circumstance. May we find reason to believe in the possibility of tomorrow and the understanding that yesterday's messages, yesterday's spills have already been
put. Right, listen, I'm on a show, a YouTube show.
Today we open the door of possibilities.
Okay, love you.
That will expose the tomorrow of our dreams and our desires. We say, in recognition of all our ancestors, please, wherever you are, call out the name of your ancestors. Call their names. Call their names. I call my ancestor, my greatest ancestor, Oke Onyioha, Udee Onyioha, Obimosa. Come on, call out the names of your ancestors. You say to them, wherever they are, you say to them, as long as we call their names, as long as their names remain on our tongues and in our consciousness, we call out their names and remember their journey. And of course, we also remember those who are still on their spiritual journey or still unborn. May they meet and live better existence than the world and come into a world better than what they see, better than what we have today. Chineke and the ancestors, please be pleased with my words today. And may we be healed, all of us, by the words that I have shared with you today. Mamano. Mamano. Obioma. Arisike. Yeni ledema. Oya na rochineke. Oya ga hota. Mototo mogere maba. Yechi. Ta. Ifeni lamdoro. Chineke aina rogo biko. Oga ugunzu. Oge nke Chineke kama ọ bụrụ na oge ahụ dị anya chere ya ekwejula n'obi gị damba chere ya n'oge ọ ga-abịa kwa chere ya ikwu ka igwe ọ na-echeta gị chere ya n'ọdịgide ọ na-echefu gị chere ya ezi ihe banyere gị ha niile na-emetụ Chineke n'obi chere oge ya. And so it is. Thank you, Chineke. Thank you, ancestors. Thank you, Mother Nature. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the good. Thank you for teaching, giving us the bad that we can learn from. But when all is said and done, let today be the beginning of nothing but goodness. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And so it is. Woo! I'm going to sprinkle some of this water on me and around me so that anything that I don't want around me today will be swept down the river with the water that I have poured in honor of our ancestors. And so it is. Yagazie, Yagazie, Yagazie. Woo! Did you guys feel that?
Yep.
You feel that? Thank you, Akachi, for the drumming. God bless you. Bless you, bless you, bless all of you. I hope your spirit is high. It's got to be high because whenever you are before the Creator, you've got to be high. Your spirit has to be high. You can see your spirit. Chineke does not work in areas where people are all bent over with pain and hurt and discontentment. Once you, whatever it is you put out there, that's what Chineke will give you back. If you're walking, things are so bad, Chineke will just sit back and watch until you're prepared to embrace all the blessings that you've already been gotten. You've already been given. Oftentimes we don't see that. We just want to just mourn and whine about what we don't have. But what do we have already? We should be grateful. Look at yourself. You're breathing. You're walking amongst the living. Your brothers. Nobody got bombed up today. Here we are. Huh?
Yep.
No, your family's together. Maybe you had breakfast today together. Huh? Be grateful. Chineke, I'm grateful. I am so grateful. I am so grateful. I am so grateful. I hope you all are. Oh my goodness. Today we are continuing our series.
Excuse me.
This topic is idols, images, and mysticism. Are these religious practices universal? The word idol is synonymous with image, but the European owners of the language do not call the images in their churches idols, but extol them in the less offensive synonym of the idol as images. Then they demand them with applause as necessary aids to God worship in their churches, even though the word idol has an image as a synonym in the English dictionary. Africans over the years have been branded idol worshippers. Are we really? Are we really? Well, Udee is going to tell us, are we really? Thank you, Udee. Welcome. This is your
Yeah. Yeah, that's when it comes to religion, that's the elephant in the room. And yes, that's a conversation that most people don't want to have. And the reason why most people don't want to have that is because it's almost impossible for you to find any anthropologist anywhere that would tell you that devotees of any religious group actually regard any idol or image as the deity itself. The basic charge of idolatry is a representation. An idol is supposed to be a representation of something that is revered, of a god, right? It's different from an image. An image is a representation of something that already exists. It's an optical representation of a real object, a graphic it's a picture of something that is real. A cup, a picture of a cup is an image because the cup is real. The cup is right there, right? A picture of this phone right here is an image. It actually exists. But an idol is a representation. It's a graven image or representation of anything that is revered or believed to have spiritual powers. For example, Christ in the church, right? Or people wear the crucifix around their neck. That's an idol image. It's a graven image. Buddha that you see in the Buddhist temples. In Igbo, for example, my own religious affiliation, in Chiedozie, we have Fijoko, right? God of the vegetation. There's a representation in either a central shrine or your own personal shrine. Is a representation of something that has spiritual powers, but it's not a representation of the actual God or Chineke itself. An idol just represents something that is revered, right? And its main purpose is for psychological focusing. That's really what that is all about. And most religions, if not all religions, that believes in a central Godhead that has an ontology, right? Believes that. Now, what do I mean by ontology? Let's break that down for a second. Ontology of creation deals with forces of nature, right? And most religions, including our ancestors in Africa, believed in some kind of physical manifestation of creation. And for us, the Godhead, the first force is the sun, because it's with the sun that life is possible on earth. This is how we saw it. And scientifically speaking, there's a certain amount of truth involved in that. So our ancestors just didn't pull that idea out of their head, right? We know that scientifically, without the sun, life does not exist on earth. So for them, the sun was very important. And in the ontological structure of creation, the sun represented the Godhead, because it is because of the sun, as far as they're concerned, that life is made possible on earth. And scientifically speaking, there's a lot of truth to that. It's been proven. If the sun is not up there, life on earth will not exist. Then after that, next to the ontological structure of creation is Ofonogu, which is your conscience. Then after that, we have Awunsi, the spirit representing the wisdom of God. Then we have Kamalo. Then we have Ane. We have Ekuroche, Imomiri. Then we have Fijoko that I just talked about. In my spirituality, in my religious behavior, those are the important astrological components of creation. And God is all part of that. All that comes together to make up the idea of God. Now, is this way of thinking just specific to Africans, to Cheists? No. In Christianism, there's an ontological structure of creation. What is that? You have the Father, you have the Son, you have the Holy Ghost. So when it comes to the God business, the idea behind God as one central figure is almost non-existent. It is a makeup of all these parts of the spiritual makeup of Chineke that gives us this idea of a central God. And of course, there are components to God. God just doesn't exist on its own. It's also the reason why you have the idea of deities. So in the ontological structure in Chiism, the Godhead is Anyanwu, the sun. Then you have all these other components that are revealed as deities, and all together make up the component of Chineke, of God. This idea also in Buddhism exists. It exists in ancient pagan religions. It exists in the Norse culture. You have Odin as supposedly the central god. Remember, this is all mythology. And then you have other gods in Asgard, which is the heaven or Valhalla. Then you have Loki, you have Thor, you have all these different deities that are revered, but are not worshipped as a god. There's a central god there. Then you go to Egyptian religion, you have that too. As a matter of fact, in Egyptian religions, there are 5 major deities in Egyptian religion. You have Atum, you have Horus, you have Osiris, you have Seth, you have Nephthys, so on and so forth. There is no religion in the world except for pagan religion that actually exists by saying that there's a central god and that's it. Even in paganism, you have Zeus, and then you have all these other, gods that exist, or deities that exist lower, at a lower level than the god of all the gods, which is Zeus. So the idea of idolatry is common amongst all world religions. The black man and woman were not doing anything in Africa that is any different from what any other world religion did and still does. The difference here is language. The difference here is the intention. When you describe other religions, what exactly are your intentions? What is it? What are you trying to say? Are you trying to say that all other world cultures worship these graven images, but that Abrahamic religions don't? When in fact, when you study Abrahamic religions, you will find that the idea of an ontology of creation exists in almost all world religions. When you walk into a church, there's an image of Jesus Christ there. Not an image, an idol of Jesus. Because it is represented as an image that is revered or believed to have spiritual powers. If you walk into a church and you see an image of Mary, it is an idol that is represented to have spiritual or believed to have spiritual powers. When you walk into any place of worship and you see an idol, a graven image, that image represents or it's believed to have spiritual powers. It is common amongst all religions. As a matter of fact, when you read the Bible, you know, it says, "Thou shalt not have no other gods before me." They say that. "Thou shalt not have no other gods before me." And the way that the narrative, the way that it's created and the way that it's applied to other religions denotes that other religions worship false gods, when in fact that is not the case. The practice of using an image believed to have spiritual powers, an image that is revered to have spiritual powers, is common among all world religions. If you go into a Buddhist temple, you're going to see an image, or excuse me, an idol of Buddha. You go into the Egyptian temples, you will see an idol of Anum, of Osiris, of Seth, of Horus. You go into an Indian temple, a Hindu religion, you're going to see idols of different Egyptian deities, all revered and believed to have spiritual powers. If you go into a temple in Baha'u'lláhism, you will see an image of a deity. If you go to the Amazon, and you go to the temples of the Incas, the Mayans, the Aztecs, you're going to see an image that is believed to represent a god that has spiritual powers. Zeus, Odin, Osiris, Hanuman, Buddha, Christ, all of them have it. As I mentioned earlier, you're not going to find any anthropologist in the world that is going to tell you that there are devotees that actually regard cult image, that actually worship these idols. It does not exist. It doesn't exist. But unfortunately, whoever has the gold makes the rules. So when you're describing, when people who are proponents of Abrahamic religions, when they describe other spiritual practices of other world cultures, their narrative is that other world cultures worship false gods, that other world cultures worship the idols, that where the purpose of these idols are really for psychological focusing. It's a representation of a deity that has supernatural powers, that have spiritual powers. It is a way for you to focus your spirit with the spirit of the God or the being, the creator, the deity that you're asking for their blessings. It happens across the board. Africans have never worshipped any false gods. Yes, we have idols, images that represent a being, Chineke, that has spiritual powers, or we believe, you know, to have spiritual powers, just like every other world culture or religion does and still practice today. But unfortunately, we have been branded as people that worship false gods, that worship idols. whose representation has nothing to do with psychological focusing. This is the way that we are portrayed. And we're portrayed that way in religious circles. But people that have Nkumi, people that are learned, people that do research, people whose minds are not muddled up with prejudices or racism, know that there is no religion in the world that worships any idol as representing God or the Creator itself. It just does not exist. So when you sit around and maybe because you've been programmed, all your life to believe that anything that has nothing to do with Abrahamic religion is evil, and that people that worship other religions, other manifestations of the Creator, based on their own experience, based on their history, based on their geographical location, based on their life experiences, when you consider those people fools, then you are a fool yourself, because it's obvious and it's evident that you are not aware, that you're not schooled, that you don't understand that every human being has the right, or let me be a little bit more specific, every culture has the right to worship Chineke in the way they understand best, without prejudice, without bitterness, understanding that diversity in thought, in behavior, in life itself is divine. Nothing is the same. We don't think the same way. And a lot of times, culturally speaking, we think differently and see the world differently because our experiences based on where we're located is different. The Amazonian is never going to see creation and God the same way that the Eskimo sees God. The evidence of life to the Eskimo has to do with cold, snow, polar bears, and all those life-sustaining forces in their environment is responsible for how they see God and how they see their blessings and how they develop a method of God worship or Chineke reverence that makes sense to them based on what they need within their own environment to survive. And for the most part, the only thing they have in common with the Amazonian is the air they breathe and the water they drink. Everything else, the animals that exist in both sides of the geography of both sides of the globe are different. There are no trees up in Greenland. It doesn't exist. But in South America, you got the jungle, you got trees, you got all kinds of stuff, jaguars, anacondas, what do you call it? Monkeys, crocodilia, all those things that allow them to exist, that is responsible for their existence and survival. All the life-sustaining forces in their environment is responsible for how they see God, how they see Chineke, and how they developed their method of God worship. It's different from the Chinese. It's different from the Africans. Your environment is the reason why you do what you do primordially, spiritually. Now, of course, today in Africa, we're doing things different. We do things that has nothing to do with our primordial core because we were colonized. And through the colonization process, we've been bamboozled, run amok, run astray, according to Malcolm X. We hate everything about who we are, both physically and spiritually. You hate your nose, it's too big. You hate your lips, it's too fat. You hate your skin, you're too dark. You hate your hair, it's too kinky. Now you want straight hair. Even though your environment dictates that if you have straight hair in Africa, as a Black person, your survival is not guaranteed. The physical manifestation is due to the environment that you find yourself. That's part of your primordial core. So idol worship is a practice that does not exist, because in most world religions, nobody says that the stone right there is the creator, and that it is through this stone that my blessings flow. When you go to the Fijoko shrine in Africa and you listen to the Dibia, listen to their incantation, they will never say to you, or while they are pouring libations or breaking cola, they will never say, Chineke, bịa nyere m aka site n'agbara. They are never going to say, Chineke, please come and help me through this idol. You will never hear it. It's never been said. You will never hear it anywhere. Here's a funny thing. If you walk into a Christian church, or you're praying as a Christian, or you're kneeling down with your crucifix and your kisses and everything else, at the end of your prayer, what do you say? Through Jesus Christ our Lord. You will never hear that in Africa. God, please come and help me through Fijoko. Come and help me through Annie. Come and help me through Kamalo. You'll never hear that. Each part of life-sustaining forces is considered a deity, and they all make up the Godhead. That's the way spirituality works. That's the way religion works. Religion, in its etymology, simply means a realization that something greater than yourself is responsible for the air that you breathe, for the animals that you eat, for the plants that you eat, for the land that you stand on, for the water that you drink. All those things that keep you alive are life-sustaining forces. And it's a belief and an understanding that you, as a human being, had nothing to do with that. What do? You ascribe the creation of these life-sustaining forces to something greater than yourself. And that something is the Almighty Chineke. And that is a common belief amongst all religions. Then the next headache that our ancestors had, whether you're European, whether you are Chinese, whether you are African, whether you are Amazonian, is this: what does this life-sustaining force look like? So we now create these images of this Chineke, of this deity, of this life-sustaining force, because we don't really know what it looks like. So if you walk into a shrine or an obase in Africa, you're going to see an idol, an image. But that image is just a representation, because you don't know what Chineke looks like. And this is a common practice among all religions. Now, some of the idols that you see in religion, in some world religions, has nothing to do with Chineke. I'll give you an example. The idol of Buddha has nothing to do with Chineke. But for those people that believe in the idea of Buddha, which is just the highest level of spiritual enlightenment, revere that image, feel there's some kind of spiritual power connected to it. But they don't pray to that image as God. It doesn't exist. Go to any other world religion, we all have the same headache. But there are specific religions that use specific images for psychological focusing, and those images have nothing to do with Chineke. Hindu religion, they're full of different idols of different deities in different Hindu temples. Some religions don't even have a central image of a supreme being. I know in my village, there's no specific image of Chineke. Instead, we deal with the life-sustaining forces that work in conjunction with each other. Some religious heroes now become revered deities, and some religions now feel that without this reverence, they lack the psychological focuses that they need, or that their adherence to this specific theology is null and void. So you have, a Buddha, Hindu images, Hanuman, and all that kind of stuff. You have a whole bunch of that. So there is nothing that Africans practice that all other world religions don't practice. There's hardly any belief, as far as the Supreme Being is concerned, that other religions don't have. We all do the same thing. The only difference is in the process. It's in the practice. It's in the idea that your environment is responsible for your approach to God worship. That's it. And then, of course, those people that make the rules, those people that have the power, those people that were able to colonize other communities and impose their religion upon those people, needed to undermine or demean the spiritual practices of the people that they conquered so that they can supplant their religion with theirs, and then tell you that you're an idol worshiper, and then walk around with a cross around their neck, and then walk into a church with an idol of Christ, an idol of Mary. In some Catholic churches, you walk in there, there's an idol of St. Francis. There's an idol of St. this. There's an idol of St. that. There's an idol of St. Patrick. There are idols everywhere. How come their idols are more revered or better than your idol? What's the difference? Why do they have a right to have an idol in their church and you don't have a right to have an idol in your house or in your shrine? And by the way, I'm using the word shrine loosely because shrine is just a place of worship. A church, a cathedral, a mosque, they're all shrines, just made more elaborate by money. So when you're looking at this giant edifice, you think it's any different from the low shrine in your backyard. It's the same thing. A shrine is a shrine. A car is a car. But some cars are Cadillacs and Mercedes, and some of them are, Ford Pintos, Toyota Corollas. But they're all cars. They get you where you need to go. That's it. So there's nothing that we do or that we've done as Africans in terms of idolatry that is any different from anybody else. The point of this lecture is for us to understand that, number one, there is no evidence anywhere that any devotees of any religious group actually regard a cult image as a god, that believe that it is through that cult image that their prayers can be answered. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in Christianism. It doesn't exist in Buddhism. It doesn't exist in Zoroastrianism. It doesn't exist in Shiism. It doesn't exist in Islam. It doesn't exist in Baha'u'llah. It doesn't exist in Sikhism, Hinduism, or all the 400 major religions that are out there. Now, there are some crazy people that might decide to worship a cell phone, believing that cell phones have powers. There are people like that. Cultist groups, people that are maybe not in touch with reality, that decided that the beautiful stone that they found over there must be God. There are people like that that will worship an ant. There are people, there's this giant ant with 10 heads that created everything. There are crazy people like that. And it's always been that way through all eternity, since the dawn of civilizations. There are people like that, but they're in the minority. They're so tiny. The numbers of people that behave that way is so small that it's of no consequence. But the majority of all world religions do not regard the images as having any spiritual powers. Africans never did. Images and idols simply are there in your shrine, big or small, for psychological focusing. The practice is universal. Every religion has an idol in it used for psychological focusing. It just depends on what or which idol that is. That's all there is to it. So when people talk about Africans worship idols, no, we don't. Buddhists don't worship idols. Sikhists don't worship idols. Christians don't worship idols. Muslims don't worship idols. Nobody worships any idol. It is simply used for psychological focusing and is common among all world religions. There is nothing that we do, there is nothing that we've done as Africans in our spirituality and in our primordial religious behavior that is any different from anybody else. All world cultures and religions that believe in a supreme being believe in a supreme being. So do we. There's only one supreme being. What you call Chineke is simply really, has a lot to do with your culture, your geography, where you're located, your history. But most religions believe in something greater than themselves, and that something is Almighty Chineke. Whether that Chineke is Zeus, it all has to do with culture and history. Whether that supreme being is Odin, whether it's Amun or Horus, whatever you want to call it, all of them have an ontology. You have to kind of, dive a little deeper now to kind of decipher the ontology of creation for each specific religion. But there's no religion out there that has one central figure and that's it. All religions are made up of one central figure and all kinds of deities. It's just the way it is. That's the commonality in all world religions. There's no religion out there that exists by extolling one deity and one deity alone. Not even in Christianity. There's the Father, there's the Son, there's the Holy Ghost. Even in Judaism, you have a central God, but then you have Gabriel. You have Lucifer. There are 14 major deities in Judaism called angels. You could call yours an angel. If I say Fijoko now, you say, oh, they're worshiping gods. Well, it's an angel too. If I go to Egyptian religion, or if I go to, paganism, and I say Zeus, and then you say Aphrodite or whoever, Titan, Hades, it's the same thing. They're angels. It just depends on who's telling the story and how good you want to make yourself look and what your intentions are when you demean the other culture as being inferior to you when you all are both doing the same thing. Listen, most of the books that we read are written in English. There's an intention there to describe everybody else based on how they want to see you or based on what their intentions are when they want to make you look as inferior as possible to who they are. I guarantee you, you may call it an idol because it's an English definition based on Christianism and Abrahamic religious concepts. But I can almost guarantee you that that same definition does not exist in Chiedozie. That same definition does not exist in any religion in the Amazon or in the Far East. We look at the world from the prism and definition of those that have the gold, those people that colonize and enslave, those people that went into other cultures, removed what is theirs and supplanted it with theirs. That's how we see the world. And for those people that are colonized, that have slave mentality, that's how we see ourselves. Africans believe that we as Africans worship idols more than the European. And that's the sad part of the whole thing. If you allow somebody to insult you, they will insult you. And over the decades now, since the end of colonialism or slavery or whatever, we have been redefined. We're no longer Kunta Kinte, you know? We're Tobis now. We're no longer Ngozi. We're Blessing now. We answer to Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Sunday. Those are our names. A lot of people are not answering Akachi anymore or Udemezwe. They will look for the English definition of the African name and then switch it to that. What does Akachi mean in English? They will choose that as opposed to choosing Akachi. Why should I change my name from Blessing? From Ngozi to Blessing when they both mean the same thing? Why can't I just be Ngozi? Why do I have to be Blessing? Why do I have to feel that if I say Blessing, then somehow it means a whole lot more than the same thing in my language, which is Ngozi? My mom is named Ngozi, which means blessing. We justify our worth by standards that are not of our own choosing. We've been redefined. So what we do now, because of how we've been redefined, because of the miseducation of the African, is to look at our religion and look at ourselves as idol worshippers, when in truth, all world religions practice the same thing, have the same belief system. Only difference is the process, the culture, your location, your history determines your God worship approach. So, folks, next time somebody tells you that you're an idol worshiper, you tell them, no, I am not, because there's no anthropologist anywhere in the world that will tell you that there's any culture that believes that an idol is a representation of Chineke. Nowhere.
Thank you.
That's my presentation.
Thank you. Now, Dr. Symona, please unmute yourself. Okay, very good. Oh, wonderful presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing those powerful words. And I think it's so important that people understand why we're saying in this, you know, because when all is said and done, it's not about how much you can praise. It is about what are you praising? What is it, you know, what is it you're believing in? You know, you can't believe everything. I want to share this before we come back, because this has to do with what Dibia Ochuaja has just shared. And it's a bit embarrassing for us as Black people. But I have to share this. Some of you have seen it. But for me, it's not only embarrassing, it's sad. It is so sad. So let me share this. I hope it will show up. And let me just share the screen with you. Now, this is showing African mothers who are crying. Okay, they're crying over the death of Jesus Christ. Okay, and what are they mourning over? They are mourning over. Why would this thing do all of this? You know, they are mourning over an idol of Jesus Christ. So let me play this. I don't even know where I don't even know where to start with that.
Bamboos, man.
What is that?
The mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Where do you start with that? But now we are talking about idol worshiping. If that was a black image, these people would not be crying. They wouldn't even come anywhere near it. They would be scared of it. They would say it's idol, the idol worshippers. And those people who are crowding around her will be stoned to death. It's somebody says, it's embarrassing. It's part of our sickness. Yes, Maurice. Adora says, it's embarrassing. Yes, it's embarrassing. I don't understand why we devalue ourselves so much. Now, look, if white folks want to fall upon Jesus Christ like that, it's in them. It's their thing. But my mothers, that's why, sisters, I say, be careful. You are the people training our children. If that is not idol worshiping, I don't know what is. But we don't worship idols like that. I don't know of any African that would throw itself on the floor over some image that they have created. There's something else I want to share, but I'll let all of you add your comments about what the presentation that Dibia Ochuaja has done. Dibia, fantastic. Let me start with Symona. Dr. Symona, what are your thoughts? And also, you may comment on the video you just saw.
First of all, I would like to thank Chineke and the ancestors for the message that Uncle Dibia Ochuaja brought forth. It was so powerful.
Yes.
And it is what we need, because it brings us to another level of spiritual maturation. What we have to understand is that Christianity is a new age religion. It is something, the concepts and the beliefs, and even within the religion, they are not to a maturation level that they can understand what images represent in all of these, even their own religion. If you think about it, Christians will say there are many names of God. They will say that, and those many names have different meanings. And those many names evoke different powers. So why is that any different than different images that represent different aspects of God, of Chineke? It's just simply people not understanding that. Jesus, why are they wailing or crying over Jesus dying when they should be, if they are a true Christian in their belief system? Jesus came forth in order as a representation of the things that we can do as human beings on this earth through our divinity, through the power of Chineke. Why are you crying? They are very immature when it comes to religion and spirituality, even within theirs. Because it is very clear. There's a scripture that says, you will do better works than me. And that's what Jesus said. You will do better works than me. Then where are those better works coming from? They're coming from Chineke. And so you must understand, and that is why people are not walking in power, because they don't understand how to tap into the different powers of God. Christianity, along with all of these traditions, teaches how to differentiate and understand the different aspects of God, just like us. We have different aspects of ourselves.
That's right.
Different aspects of your excellency. There's different aspects of her. In different situations, in different environments, she shows up differently. There is no difference with Chineke. So we have to understand these, whatever images we use, candles, different things like that, that you have to be able to recognize God in everything, because God is everywhere. Chineke is everywhere. And so it gives, just like any other prayer, when we put when I know it, with my altar and things like that, I put certain images, like Uncle was saying, to represent whatever it is that I'm wanting to pray for. I want to focus on that aspect of Chineke. And so I will put that, not saying that this is in representation of that aspect of Chineke. It's not that you're worshiping that particular image. It may be a candle. It could be a many different things. But you're saying, this is what I'm focused on. This is what I have prayers for. And sometimes, depending on the instances and what it is that we need, we will set forth different things in order to be able to bring those things forth.
Yes.
Because we are, Chineke lives in all of us. And we have to do everything that we can and every tool that we have to be able to focus in and be able to bring forth that of what is in the spiritual world. That is what is coming from Chineke, in order for it to be manifested here.
That's right.
People must understand that. They must understand how that works. A lot of people that are talking about idol worship or false idols, there's no such thing as a false idol. That is not even that there's no such thing. What are you talking about? It's a very immature outlook of God. It's a very immature outlook of Chineke. And I'm hoping this show helps people to get to a level of spiritual maturation, that they're able to go higher.
Thank you.
So-called idols and images will take you higher in your spirituality. It will bring you closer to Chineke. And so you will be able to it'll help you to understand the different aspects of Chineke.
Thank you. You are full of energy this morning. Let me go to you. You're sitting there quietly. You're listening to all these words of wisdom. Throw yours in.
First, thank you for having me. I would say I wish I had heard what Dibia Ochuaja, Udee, what you just spoke on like years ago. It's interesting that you have this as a topic, because maybe 2-3 months ago, I was actually having this conversation with someone that is a pastor, but they're very open. They embrace our spirituality, African spirituality. And I was like, when you think about it, Christianity is polytheistic.
Yes.
And they don't know it because you have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I could never wrap my mind around that. But I was like, okay, it's one God, but it's three. Is it one God or is it three?
Yes.
You know, you have that situation, and then they left out the feminine, the divine feminine in the Godhead, but then you have what would be your archangels, which to me were like Orisha or other country. Yes, Arunsi. And so I was like, okay, so those are Christianity's Arunsi. And then I was like, when your elders who are revered die, you name them saints. So those are your ancestors. And they just couldn't see it. I just thought like that. And I studied this. And when you talk about the idols, my minor was religious studies. It's interesting because in class, when we were studying Christianity, because I felt like, okay, I'm a Christian. I need to know what I believe. Why do I believe it? What's the history, etc. The cross was called an archetype or an icon, not an idol. Never referred to as an idol. And I saw the wordplay that was going on, but it takes time to piece it all together. And so I think that if Christians were open, if they were able to step outside of their spiritual belief system and look at it with an analytical eye, I think they could see themselves and other religions are not very different. I mean, there are some differences, but it's not as different as what they think it is. And as far as the sisters and brothers crying over, I mean, really, it was a mannequin. I just thought it was sad because the whole time we're taught that as Africans we worship our wooden idols, and I never thought that made any sense. But Christians do the same thing. If you're a Catholic and you go and you kneel down to the cross, you're revering that idol. And Christians will Protestants will separate themselves from Catholicism, but it's like Protestantism is birthed out of Catholicism. So all of you all are Catholic and you just don't know it. But I just think it's unfortunate that we're taught beliefs without rationale, without logic, and I think that it hinders people's spiritual maturation. Yeah.
Excellent. Wonderful. Well, Dibia, you joined us. Thank you so much. Thank you, Akachi. Thank you for joining us. Okay, he's gone. Okay.
I wanted to say something right quick. I think it's very important. Really very important to the conversation.
You get a minute for that. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's very simple. The movement towards the linkage of the soul of a person and Chineke is religion. That's all it is. And to be able to link your soul as a human being to Chineke, there are natural stages and processes marked with the difference in traditions and the discipline of prayer, purification, contemplating, fasting, meditation, environmental serenity, and rituals that remove impediments to the movement of your soul so that you can link it with God, which enables you the psychological focusing you need in prayer. This exercise is common amongst all religion. There's no religion that you will find that this process does not exist in. So when people tell you that some people are doing something, that some people are doing something, just understand everybody doing something. Some people just elevate what they're doing above all others because they have the power to do so. How do they have the power to do it? Because they have the sword. That sword is bigger than yours. You are colonized. You are enslaved. They have the forum to tell their story more than you. They control communication. They control the messaging. But I want everybody out there to understand this idea of focusing your soul with the Creator is universal. How you do it is a different story altogether. But it's one and the same. And it is your culture, your religion, and your environment that dictates what the process is going to look like. That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you. I want to add this thought. This gentleman from Kenya, I believe he is. His name is Kendi Borana. He made some posts that I found very fascinating, and it has a lot to do with what we're talking about. And I think it's important for all of us to pay attention, because we're not here to chastise about other people's religion. We're here to school ourselves on what we should pay attention to and what we should embrace, and why perhaps the problem, not perhaps, I should be honest about that, but the reason why we are struggling today is for this very reason. There was there's a pastor, an imam, who also said that the reason why the many countries that adhere to Islam are not doing very well is because of some of their doctrines, the doctrines that they take to other countries, and how that is not helpful to the countries. And you find that those countries themselves, they start to suffer, okay, because of adherence to something that's different from them. This gentleman says, and if you don't mind, I want to read this, and it has a lot to do with what Dibia Ochuaja shared with us today. He says that Christianity is the #1 problem in Africa. Okay, Islam as well, but Christianity for the most part, and that is because of what it says to us, what it tells us about who we are, and how it diminishes us, how it makes us hate ourselves. If it is not the #1, he says, it is certainly in the top 3. Christianity is used to entrench oppression of African people. All our leaders are God-fearing. The Christian God is a paradox. The most intolerant people you will ever encounter are Christians in Africa, especially the born-again variety. Zambians are praying because they have a cholera outbreak. They don't want to do anything about it, but they'll pray to the Christian God to stop it. Zambians were praying a few years ago because they had no electricity. So they went to an electrical grid and prayed for God to start the electricity. Now, people think. In Kenya, we have something called, what is it? It says in Kenya, we have something called a national prayer breakfast, which is led by politicians who are responsible for all the misery and suffering of the Kenyan population. They meet in posh hotels and stop their mouths with sausages and sing hymns to the Christian God. And we say we are Christian nations. What Christian values do we live by? We have more churches than schools. The universities and hospitals combined in Kenya and in most African nations, Christianity has destroyed. Christianity has destroyed Africa because it hinders thinking completely. We don't think anymore. These are my words. We don't think anymore. We are more focused in honoring someone else's thoughts, philosophies, than we are honoring ourselves. We don't think anymore. All the major political parties in Kenya in the last election, according to him, were using Christian sloganeering, right? Never mind that there are many people in Kenya who are not Christians. But since the Christian God is the best, the rest should just fall in line. Poverty of ideas and high degrees of insensitivity. One of the few respectable Kenyan retired clergy, Reverend Timothy Njoya, refers to this behavior as mocking God. Okay, according to him, he says Christianity tells Africans that no weapon formed against them will prosper. Unfortunately, slavery prospered. Slavery is prospering in Libya and in the Middle East. Colonialism is prospering and prospered in the past and is still prospering now. Neo-colonial encirclements is prospering. Misgovernance is prospering. Even the clergy are prospering at the expense of the people. This is what this religion is doing to our country, to all African nations, African enclaves everywhere. Okay, so I think it's important that we understand. We don't advocate hating any religions. We advocate loving yourself, embracing yourself, looking into what makes you who you are. What are the foundational principles that make who you are? Before you can be, before you can belong, you must be who you are. This is what we're talking about. And unfortunately, you've got to talk about what's causing it. And sometimes that makes people uncomfortable, but it is what it is. You've got to tell the truth. Dibia Chiedozie has come in. Let's see what his comments are. Dibia, how are you?
He's gone.
Yeah, there he goes.
Is he back?
Can you hear me?
There he is. Okay, Dibia, how are you? How are you? Welcome.
I'm fine. Yeah.
It's been tough and rough for you, I know that.
We are on strike, and so the office network is being yanked off. And then I've been switching from one network to another. You switch to this one, that one has problem. You switch to another one, has problem.
Oh no!
So, but I'm here.
Oh wow!
Welcome.
Yeah.
You heard the conversation. You see today's topic. What are your thoughts?
Well, one thing I have to say first, we can't understand whatever is called idol, image, mysticism without the mind. And my area of research is actually the human mind as the center of all human activities. And from my little knowledge of what mind is, everything begins and ends with imagination, because imagination is not just a function of the mind, it's a faculty of the mind. And imagination is the coordinator of all other faculties of the mind. It is because of the imagination that we can form unity. Without imagination, we cannot form unity. We will not be able to coordinate chaos into order, anarchy into harmony. It would not be possible. So the issue of forming unity, homogeneity, orderliness is imagination. And that is why we cannot even utter without an image. Everything is image. And that is because, imagine, before we come about the idea of a thing, before we can analyze that idea, we must have an image of it. A is an image. One is an image. God is an image. The only thing that Christianity and Islam are saying is that you should not make a physical image. But it is not possible to make a physical image without a mental image.
Mm-hmm.
So God is a mental image.
Mm-hmm.
Because every description of God in the Bible, in the Quran, are images. When you describe God as one, God has extraordinary long hand, and his hand of justice can get you anywhere you are. Suppose I now draw an image of God with an elastic hand. The hand keeps elongating forever and ever and ever. It doesn't stop. That is an image. Every description is an image. Every description is an image. When you say heaven is God's abode and the earth is his footstool, suppose I now draw God entering heaven and knocking on his door in heaven and draw the earth as his footmat. So every description is an image. It is not possible to practice mysticism in any form, spirituality in any form, religion in any form without image. Because we function by the power of imagination. And the function of imagination is to create the image. That is why it is the faculty of trance. And as the faculty of trance, whenever you are in a trance form, what you see is an image in a wave of light. So that image that you have been seeing, but you have not been familiar with it, in a wave of light, it becomes crystal clear. such that what you did not see when you were idealizing, you can see in a feat of imagination. So every religion is neck deep into image worship. Every spirituality is neck deep into image worship. Science cannot function without images. Image is the foundation of life, because writing is image. How did we come about alphabets? How did we come about figures? They are all images. And that is why there is no religion without its own symbol. So the issue here is that, like we keep saying on this platform, what we need is to do more education like we are doing now, to let people know about the politics in religion. The politics in religion is what we say. I need the Madisa, Danta, Ironus are so for nation more. We are all in the practice of religion. But at the long run, you turn back and tell me my own approach to God is wrong.
Yeah.
It's the politics of religion that is deliberate. And this politics of religion that is deliberate is a nomenclature of the Abrahamic religion because of their metaphysics of monotheism. Everything must be reduced to a perspective. Whatever does not fit into that perspective it's not genuine, it's not original, it's fake, or it's non-existent. So wipe it out, annihilate it, and so make it extinct. So with that kind of mentality that have been imposed on us Africans, we must realize that colonization attacked our psyche, and it attacked it terribly. It ate it up. And so any African existing today we will have to fight forever to free Africans from the slavery that we are into. The best program we can run, that is why we must start beyond this program. We must start institutions, primary schools, secondary schools, kindergarten, universities, where we begin to train children that will be born today. We train them in our own way, so that when they are 40, we have a generation that is well brought up within the Chiism tradition. But any Africans existing today that is born today, already born today, being born now, is already messed up in the mind. And we will spend forever trying to straighten Okoro. We all know stockfish or dry fish. When fish is dry, or Okoro, no matter how you cook it, it will never straighten. It will remain bent because it's already conditioned that way. So the easiest way one you can do is to catch them young, because that is how we got where we are today. When in Things Fall Apart, Mr. Brown went to preach to Akuna, and he saw that Akuna had his philosophy, his mysticism, everything is intact. They now developed the program of catch them young. Schools were built for children, hospitals and maternities for women. So they caught our women, they caught our children, and the men have to be dragged along. Well, happily, it is the women that are also now, you are now at the forefront, making sure that we get ourselves back. But we will only get it back when we also develop the program of catching ourselves young.
Yes.
Like you, as a wine and Dibia Ochuaja, you grew in what you are doing. I was arrested. So my story in the line of Chiism is like Paul of the Bible. It's like Paul of the Bible. So you may not be zealous like me, so because you are in it, you grew with it. So I may be zealous about it, but I have to be careful too. So my point is simple: we need to intensify what we are doing, and we need to continue to do what we are doing. And as a wine, thumbs up for you, Dibia Ochuaja, and our two beautiful ladies, thumbs up to you. And I say we will continue to do this, and very soon we cannot wait that the Chiism University will start, and that we will drive it to a point where we begin to have a physical school, so that we can have primary school, secondary school, where we catch them young.
Yes.
I think
yes.
That's it.
Thank you. It's safe.
I have a dream. I have a dream. That's all. That's the nutshell of it.
And we are excited because the university is coming along well. and we are getting ready to launch it in August. I've got so many people asking to register for the university. So yes, we think long term. This is, in the meantime, what we must do, to encourage people to open their minds. And for me, what concerns me tremendously is the children. That concerns me. What are we teaching them? What is every 10-year-old today, in 10 years' time, will be a 20-year-old? Think about the learning that they miss in 10 years if they're not taught the right thing. Our people have been so, how many of you are familiar with the Nok terracotta sculptures? I would imagine, Dibia, you're aware of it, and you're aware of it. Okay, the author I was telling you about, he talked about how very devastating it is for our children when those things are destroyed. He talked about attending a World Archaeological Congress in Nigeria, and he took the floor and started speaking about threats to the heritage conservation in the part of Africa. He said that one of the major issues is the destruction of the Nok terracotta sculptures by both Christians and Muslims. Now, see, Christians and Muslims, they get upset when you say these things. You see, what people do in your name and you don't protest it, you become a part of it. You're no longer a bystander. If you know that something is wrong and is being done in your religion, you must speak up. Okay? When people find those Nok terracotta on their yards, they have been conditioned that they should destroy them, because religious teachings of both faiths have convinced them that anything associated with African cultures is witchcraft. So when they see anything that has African figures, sculptures, or anything like that, things that we've had for thousands of years, they destroy them. Now, we can benefit from those things, but when they pick it up and take it overseas, they benefit from it. They collect money from people coming to see it. But this is our own thing. This should be our cultural pride. This should be our education for our children. They should represent research. Our people need to know about these things, But these antiques are all over the world. These hunters, that's what they are. They come and they take all these things and they take them to Europe and all those different places and make all kinds of money. So since we as Africans see our things as witchcraft, well, we discard them. We don't benefit from them in any way, even though this is our heritage. So it is absolutely, when people don't want to listen, but it is absolutely in contrast with our ability to make money. We can use our own things to make money, but we can't, because we're convinced they're no good. They're witchcraft. They're bad for you. You have to run from it. Do you remember what happened in Owerri? I don't know if Dibia.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, one of the calendars we have, great African cultures and civilizations. One of the calendars that I developed was about the Nok culture.
Yes. So I want to talk about what happened in that. This African gentleman had so much pride in African art, so that he created this massive center with all these African sculptures everywhere. It was just breathtaking what this young man did. The Christian governor went there, raised everything to the ground. Every single sculpture, African tradition,
it happened.
Raised it to the ground. Can you imagine? And people, foreigners, were coming there and admiring this thing.
Even Chinua Achebe and his friends built a museum, remember?
Yes.
They built a museum, and the governor, they went and got bulldozers and bulldozed everything to the ground. Chiedozie, Dr. Chiedozie, you remember that? They bulldozed everything, got rid of it. Chinua Achebe and his friends built a museum for African culture. And they bulldozed everything.
They bulldozed it. And guess what? here's the pain of it all, is that the Africans were clapping. Our people were clapping as they saw the destruction of their own thing, because they can get to heaven. They don't see that as heaven. One more thing, and then I'll let each one of you come in and say something. There is a particular it's a cultural thing that they do in Kenya, okay, and that is the elders. Okay, this is how the elders visit, communicate or commune with their grandchildren. It's called Gukugia Mwana. That what happens is that the mother of a child would take the child to the grandmother. This is in Kenya. They take the child to the grandmother, right? And the grandmother will hold the child, and there'll be much merriment, and you should be speaking in their language and blessing the child, and everybody will be dancing. There'll be much eating, right? But what's happening now is, because majority of the attendees to these events are Christian, they don't allow the process to go forward the way it's supposed to. So they have to modify everything. So anything that has any semblance of Africanness, if I may use that expression, is put to the side. So it doesn't have the same effect it's supposed to have anymore. People are now so scared of a practice that is such a beautiful, proud thing that grandmothers enjoy with their grandchildren. They push that aside. They don't do that anymore. They're discouraged from doing it because they're for all the different reasons that they're coming up with why it should not be done. So Christianity has killed that. And that's gradually what's happening to our culture. Everything is killed and killed and killed until we have nothing left. That's just a sad commentary that I just wanted to share. I would like to give Dr. Monet, do you have anything you want to add? And we'll go around and everybody will say something.
Absolutely. Just like, Uncle Chiedozie was saying, Uncle was saying about the mind and how important the mind is.
Yes.
Because the mind is the beginning of our creation, of our creative part, our creative process, and being able to manifest the things that we would like to attain in this life. And also, the mind is so powerful in that things can work against us due to the way that we are thinking. Yes. And so what people don't understand, there's something that I learned in my journey of spirituality is called an anchor. Yes. And an anchor could be physical or it could be mental. Mm-hmm. And what it is what they say an idol. They're calling it an idol. Mm-hmm. And a lot of Christians are talking about not worshiping idols and things like that, not knowing the power in an idol. The power, what you could say, and I say an anchor, because a lot of people get flipped up when you say an idol or you say an image, or something like that. They get flipped up. They think it's something evil because they've been conditioned to think that. Yeah. But these things are so powerful. I use it in my healing work. I will tell people to come to me. There'll be certain images I'll tell them, take something that is valuable and hold that thing. And when you hold that thing, I want you to imagine the opposite of what you're feeling about yourself, the opposite of what is going on. This is this has to do with your healing and your process of healing. And if you don't want to hold something, you imagine it in your mind. So when you feeling those feelings of you may be feeling down, you may be feeling like things are not going your way, you may be feeling like you're unable to heal, you hold on to that anchor, and that anchor will draw you back to Chineke. That anchor will draw you back to Chineke. I hope everyone is hearing this, because this is a part of your spiritual manifestation.
Ashe.
This is a different level than what a lot of people don't understand.
Yes.
And when it's just like the cross, what Christians don't realize is they do this, but they're not calling it an idol.
Mm-mm.
They're calling it, they will wear that cross on their neck. And when they feel that they're in trouble, guess what? They're holding on to that cross. They're holding on to the rosaries. They're walking around with those things. And then you want to say that other traditions are worshiping false idols. But what are you doing? But see, that is another level when you understand the power in the idol, or what you can call an anchor. The metaphysical world calls it an anchor, but it's from esoteric knowledge that is coming from things like Chiism, that Chiism is teaching. The traditions that has been around thousands of years. So you will have the same in Christianity. You know, they're saying don't worship idols, but what they understand, what our oppressor understands is the power. They're starting to understand the power of that, but they call it something different. They call it an anchor. When we light those candles to those deities in representation of Chineke, those are anchors. Those are powerful. Those are very powerful. And so, or imagining the deities is very powerful. So we have to get back to, and I say get back because these traditions have been around in African cultures and traditions for thousands of years. We have to get back to that knowledge.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I would like to ask Apache. You got 2 minutes.
2 minutes, okay. You know, I think when Dibia Chiedozie, when you were talking about what we have to see, visualize first, something I was taught in terms of in business is that you have to see the imagination. The image is central, and the better, the more crystal clear that you see that image, the more you are better able to take actions, take steps, do things to actualize that image into reality. And so I understand the value of image. I have a Harriet Tubman small statue bust and Frederick Douglass, and someone might see that on my shrine and think, oh, she worships Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass. But no, I have them there as they represent a masculine and feminine principle, and as African people who overcame and there's so much I'm inspired by them. And so when I focus on that, it's a reminder of myself that these same things, these same qualities are innate within me, you know, that they had within them when they were living in this plane. And I just think that it's sad if people don't understand the psychology of our spirituality, because they've reduced it to just an idol. And I understood also what you were saying about the sculptures, because under my Christianization, I thought that they were ugly. I thought African art was scary looking, and I really didn't want anything to do with it because I had been socialized to accept and to value European, or just anything that wasn't African for that matter. Art expressions, cultural expressions, but now I see it as spiritual technology is what I call it, because that's what it is. It's spiritual and it's technology, and we're using our minds and bringing it together to create. So that's
Thank you. I just want to comment. Vicky says that she is ready to register. Yes, Vicky, I have you down as one of our potential students. Yeah, Vicky, absolutely. We're gonna have some powerful people coming out of that university. I'm trying to tell you, it's so exciting. I've got 2 people you called yesterday from Kenya that want to register as well. So people are paying attention because it's something that needs to be done. Absolutely, absolutely. Now I want to ask Dibia Ochuaja to make some. You got 2 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, everybody has been great, your opinions and all that, and specifically with the comments that Dr. Dibia Chiedozie had made about symbolism. Everything's about symbol language that we write. The Muslim, I just kind of wanted to focus on that for just 2 minutes. First of all, mysticism seeks to link the soul of a person with Chineke or God. Mysticism holds that without symbols or idols or images in which the holy or the sacred is embodied and focused on the mind, the experience of holy vanishes.
Yes.
The idea behind Chineke and God is the idea of holy.
Yes.
If it is not sacred, if it is not holy, what are you doing it for? If you don't believe that there's a power that lies within this holiness, what are you doing it for?
True.
If I don't believe that Chineke, if I don't believe that God can bless me, do you think I care about God? I'm selfish in my beliefs.
That's right.
Chineke has to bring something to the table. There's a deal here. The deal is my reverence. The deal is the blessing of Chineke. Nobody's praising Chineke for nothing. You praise Chineke for long life. You praise Chineke for good health. You ask for it. You praise Chineke. You ask for children. You praise Chineke for the means to raise those kids. That's the deal.
That's right. That's the deal.
And if I don't believe that Chineke provides that or will help me with that, will be able to tune life-sustaining forces to accommodate my needs, to bless me, then my belief in a higher being is null and void. It's meaningless. So I don't praise Chineke if I don't expect something. And what Chineke expects from me is reverence. Second thing I want to point to, Dr. Chiedozie just laid it out real good. I want to use symbolism to talk about the difference in how we
worship. 1 minute.
1 minute.
Yes.
If I write the word Chineke, regardless of what it means, just the way that I can write it as a symbol, Chineke. That same symbol of Chineke means the same thing as God. It means the same thing as Yahweh. It means the same thing as Allah, A-L-L-A-H. The point is, regardless of what the representation is, the meaning is still the same. So we need to understand, respect that, and know that there's nothing that we do that other people don't do. There's nothing that we did that other people didn't do. So we have as much right as they do to exist and do our own thing. That's it.
Truth. Thank you. Chiedozie, you've got 2 minutes.
Well, one thing I want us to know is this. Either we seek for God or God reveals itself to us. The revelation, whether we seek it or it is the Almighty that reveals itself to us, the image must be in the culture and spirituality that we understand.
Yep.
That's right.
That is why a Catholic cannot experience God outside Catholicism due to other religion. Now, the politics here is mental poisoning, like it happened in some part of Igbo land when the white man came and they desecrated some shrines under the guise that they were illicit. It was represented illicit religion. What did the Dibias do? And Dindichi, they said, well, if what God, this is how God revealed himself to us, not the way God revealed himself to your ancestors. And so God be the judge. And they shouted the name of Chukwu. The oldest man shouted the name of Chukwu 7 times. Chukwu. After invocation, he said, be you the judge today. If the way you revealed yourself to us is fake, may we not wake up the next day. And if these people have brought us Oa, that is to say, they have come to bring us, they brought us mental poisoning, visit them overnight. Overnight, the mission house was covered by soldier ants. The more it began with one, they killed one, it became two, two became four, and geometrically multiplied until it became millions of them, covered the church premises. They all vanished from that particular point. So, from what Dr. Symona said, the image is a creation of imagination. And as a product of imagination, it is connected to the human person. And so the best way you can approach God is from your cultural ancestral path that is seated thousands and thousands of years ago. Because the more the taproot of a tree gets into the ground, the firmer the tree, the stronger the tree.
You see?
And that is why today we are like grasses being chopped off, because we are grafted on other people's trees. We don't even have our roots to the ground. So we are like Okoro, epiphytes. You can easily pull us off. We don't have roots to the ground.
We're potted plants.
Sure.
Yeah.
We don't have any roots.
Yeah. So
yes.
The image, the idol, the anchor,
we got 3 seconds.
The product of our imagination. That imagination must be rooted mystically, spiritually, to our ancestral past, to connect us with the trajectory of where we are coming from. Then we'll be resolute, firm, and strong.
Thank you. Thank you. There's so much that we can still say, but I just want to end with this note. Remember that the purpose of some of these religions may be good. For some people, some of the different people who bring religion to us, brought religion to Africa, some of the intention was good, but majority was not. It's to create confusion, and the confusion can be seen when people get shocked and embarrassed when you call the ancestors. When you come to a gathering and you say you want to honor the ancestors, God help you, there's a pastor in the house, and they will tell you that that's wrong. And that creates confusion. As a matter of fact, that creates confusion to the young people, because they go to church and they are told one thing, then they come home and they are told another thing. They're told to uphold the culture, and then you take them to church, but the pastor says, no, you shouldn't do that. That's blasphemous. That's this, that, and the other. So we must make up our minds. What do we want? Do we want to be conscious human beings, or do we continue to be slaves at the hands of others? Now, I made this little video for the members of Chiedozie. Thank you for being a part of our experience, and all of those who continue to join us. We are going to continue to add you to our family. And so my favorite music is Biakuteya Biazurike. Let me say, Biakuteya Biazurike. Come to the Creator and find your peace and find hope, and as understanding that surpasses any understanding. So this is for you. To the best of my ability, I found pictures that I could use. So I attached this song to all your pictures. I hope you enjoy it. It takes just about 2 minutes.
Ụlọ nsọ gị Chukwu ka ị na-abata, bịakwute bịa zuru ike. Anya bịawa ịsọpụrụ gị ugbu a, bịakwute bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute 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 bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute bịa o bịakwute bịakwute bịa zuru ike. Chukwu nna n'ụlọ gị ka ị na-akpọ gị, bịakwute bịa zuru ike. Otito na-adịrị gị mgbe niile, bịakwute bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute 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 bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute bịa o bịakwute bịakwute bịa zuru ike.
There are some people who are not on this video, but they are on the second one that I will play next week, such as my baby Emeka is on that one. And so I'm going to keep playing these as I compile all the pictures of the new people who are joining us. And I thank you. I just want you all to know we love you dearly, and we're just building. So the next video has so much more. Those individuals who have joined us, you may not see yourselves in the next video, but those that did appear on this one will be in the next video that I'm going to show. It's been a pleasure having all of you. Thank you, Udee, for that wonderful lecture. Thank you, Chiedozie, for your contribution. Thank you, Dr. Symona Ajamu. Fantastic. Good job. Thank you, everyone who joined us, wherever you joined us from. We are so grateful for you. We love you dearly. And Adora says it's a great show. Or you, Dibia Ochuaja, Nandi Osimiri, all of them had beautiful, everybody had some beautiful comments. I can't read all of them, but you can always go back and read everything that was discussed today, all the contributions that were made today. Let's not forget, we still have to build that Odobase. Come on now, we can't talk about it, we must be about it. Akachi, thank you for your donation. Dr. Symona, thank you for your donation. Namdi, myself, Udee, all those who are donating, keep it coming. Akimi bro, of course. Thank you, all of you. Please don't forget, we cannot make this possible if we don't pitch in. And if you've donated one time, make it a monthly donation. You don't have to donate just one time and walk away. I don't care if it's $2. You commit $2 every month, $5 every month, whatever it takes. Come on, this is our thing. It is our responsibility to make this a reality, and that we must. So I want to thank all of you and encourage you to continue to do so. And if you don't know where you're supposed to send the funds, let me remind you, Mecca has been doing a wonderful job reminding everybody that this is it. Cash App Ogele. Come on, everybody. Let's do this. Let's make it happen. And again, thank you. All of you have a wonderful, wonderful day. I will end with ending music, this time to just dedicate it to His Holiness, the founder of Chiedozie. Yagazino.
Yagazino.